Okay, well, today we're going to start the shir. We're on page 163 in the books. We're in Hilchot Yom Tov. This is now going to be our seventh shir in Hilchot Yom Tov. And today we're going to speak the biggest topic of today is going to be, we know that on Shabbat there is oneg and there's kavod, oneg Shabbat and kavod Shabbat. And there is an extra added element on Yom Tov, the element of simcha. Okay, so we saw when we were learning volume 16, we saw from the Rambam and the way the Vilna Gaon wanted to learn the Rambam was that whatever you do before Shabbat, for Shabbat, that is kavod Shabbat. Whatever you do on Shabbat, that's oneg Shabbat. So the kavod is the preparation, so to speak, taking the shower, putting on the clothing, preparing the food, enjoying the food. On Shabbat, that's Oneg Shabbat, okay? There's an additional element on Yom Tov, the element of Simcha. So let us begin our studies today on page 163, source number 1. Says the Rambam, Kishem Mitzuva lechabed Shabbat, the same way you're Mitzuva on Shabbat to do Kibbutz Shabbos and Oneg Shabbos, Kach Kol Yomim Tovim. Same things with all the holidays, right? Shnemer Likdosh Hashem Mechubad. And we already explained what kibbut is and what inug is in Hilchot Shabbat, says the Rambam. And just like on Erev Shabbat, we don't want you to eat too close to Shabbat. Right now, 9 hours into the day, so 3 hours before Shkia, we don't want you to eat. We want you to come into the Suda Shabbat hungry with a desire. Same thing on Erev Yom Tov. Whatever you do before the Yom Tov, before the Shabbat, that's the kavod. Now he writes, anyone who makes fun of the Yom Tovim, it's as if he is associated and with avodah zara. Okay, so that's the Rambam, and the Rambam says that you have the same mitzvah of kibbud and oineg on Shabbos, you have it also on Yom Tov. Fine. The Tzurba now brings a Maisa, a story that happened in the times of the Talmud on a Yom Tov. There was a rabbi, Rabbi Eliezer. He is sitting and he has students there in the Bet Midrash, and he is giving them a lecture on Yom Tov. Okay? And as he's giving the lecture, people are leaving the room. Okay? So listen to this story. Maaseh, Tanu Rabbanan, Maaseh, Rabbi Eliezer. Eliezer is sitting teaching Torah. Yoshev v'doresh kol hayom kulo b'Hilchot Yom Tov. Whole day he's teaching Hilchot Yom Tov on Yom Tov. He's teaching Yom Tov the entire day. Okay, Yatzata kat rishona. And a group of people got up and they left. The first group. Amar halalu baalei pitasin. He says these guys, they have big barrels of wine at home. You know, that's why they got to leave, because they have a lot of wine to drink. That's why they left. Okay, Kachinia. He's continuing to lecture the remainders. Another group get up to leave. He says about them, Amar halalu baalei chaviyot. These guys have kegs. They have smaller than barrels. They could stay a little longer because they have less to drink. And now they have kachilishit. The third group now got up and left. This guy's losing people. He's losing people. The whole shir is disappearing. It happened. Okay. Amar, he says halalu baalei chadin. These guys only have jugs of wine at home. They got smaller bottles. That's why they're leaving later. Katravi. The fourth group got up to leave. He says, halalu baalei laginin. These are the guys of flasks. They have the small bottles. That's why they're leaving so late. Kat hamishit, amar halalu baalei chosot. These are the guys who only have cups of wine. They don't even have a bottle of wine. They got a cup. That's why they're leaving later. Hitchilu kat shishit. Let's say the sixth group started to get up, trying to make their escape from the shir. It's going on all day. So they try to escape from the shir. So he says, Amar halalu baalei me'ara. These are desolate people. Okay. Natan enav b'talmidim. He's putting his eyes on these students. Hitchilu penehem mishtanin. Their faces begin to pale. They're getting embarrassed. The other guys just escaped. The rabbi is making comment directly at them, and he's staring at them. Sa'amar lehem, everybody else tells him, no. I'm not upset with you guys. I'm upset with the guys who already left. You guys left the last. You're the last group. You guys are good. Sixth group is good. You guys are still here. But the other five who left earlier, I'm upset with them. Why? Shemanihim chaye olam, for they left the Torah, which is chaye olam, ve'oskim b'chaye sha'ah, and they're being busy with food and drink, which is just for this world. You don't take food and drink to the next world. So you had a choice between learning Torah and eating and drinking, and they chose to eat and drink. I'm upset with them. Once they were leaving now, they finished the shir, he's done, he says, time to go home. He reads to them a pasuk in Nehemiah. Lechu, echlu, manim, ushtu, mamtakim, go eat rich food, go drink sweet beverages, v'shilchu manot le'en nachon lo, and send portions to those who were not prepared. Ki kadosh Hashem, ki kadosh hayom la'adunenu, v'al ta'atzivu, ki chedvat Hashem hi ma'uzechem. And don't be depressed, for the joy of Hashem is your security. So he now is telling them, go home and drink. After the shir is done, and they are the sixth group who stayed to the end. Now, he said to them, why are you leaving the Torah to go eat and drink on Yom Tov? That was his question to these people. So Omar Mar, Shemanichan Chaya Olam, V'oskin B'Chaya Shah, V'has Simchat Yom Tov Mitzvahi. Exactly Gavriel's question. Gabriel said, well, what does he want from him? Part of the mitzvah of the day is to be misameach, to have simcha with achila v'shtiyah. So what's going on? Gemara says, yeah, it's a machloket. How to have simcha on Yom Tov. Rabbi Eliezer l'tameh. Rabbi Eliezer goes with his opinion. Da'amar. Rabbi Eliezer says, Simchat Yom Tov reshut. Simchat Yom Tov with food and drink is a reshut. That's Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. To eat and drink on Yom Tov, it's optional to have that simcha. The Tanya, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, en lo la'adam b'Yom Tov. There's nothing for the person on Yom Tov. Elo o ochel v'shoteh o yoshev v'shoneh. He has two options to be misameach on Yom Tov. Says Rabbi Eliezer. He can either eat or drink, or he can be misameach with learning Torah. It's an or, not an and. According to the Eliezer, it's an or. Either your Simchat Yom Tov is learning Torah, or either your Simchat Yom Tov is learning Torah or eating and drinking. You pick. Not two. One. Either this one or that one. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, Rabbi Yeshua says, and we pass like Rabbi Yeshua, Halekehu, we divide the day. Hetzio Hashem, Hetzio Lachem. Half the day for God, and half the day for us. For God means that Torah, learning and prayers in the synagogue, that's Chatzio Hashem. The Chatzio Lachem is half the day should be what's it called? Eating and drinking. So there's actually a machloket poskim. How do you look at the half and half? Does it have to be exactly half? Do I have to make sure that at the time I take the day in half when I split it the hours, 6 hours I use to eat and drink, and 6 hours I got to learn and daven, right? Or is it chatzah, meaning part and part? And by the way, this doesn't mean just on Yom Tov. This means the whole moed, including Chol Moed. Okay, fine. Chatzil Hashem, Chatzil Hashem. Rabbi Yochanan says, where are they both getting this shot from? Rabbi Eliezer who says either this or that, and Rabbi Yeshua says this and that. So either or and. Rabbi Eliezer is or, and Rabbi Yeshua is and. Rabbi Yochanan, Ushdei and Mikra Echad Darshu, and they're both learning from one pasuk, from one explanation. There's two psukim. One pasuk. I'm just going to read the whole pasuk so we have the whole thing. This is in Tvarim. Sheishes yamim tochal matzot v'yom hashvi'i atzeret laHashem elokecha lo taseh melacha. So what does it say in that pasuk? Atzeret laHashem. Then there's another pasuk in Bamidbar that says v'yom hashemini atzeret tieh lachem. So what do you do? Even though one's talking about Shmini Chag Atzeres and one is talking about the seventh day, still it says atzeret. One says atzeret laHashem, one says atzeret lachem. So what do you do with those two? One pasuk says lachem. So is it a holiday for me or is it a holiday for God? Each pasuk says something else. So how ketzad? Eliezer Savar, oy kulu Hashem, oy kulu lachem. You choose. You want the Yom Tov to be complete for God, you learn Torah all day, you daven all day. That's it, nothing else. Either or you all day make it for yourself and you eat and drink all day. Or the other opinion is Rabbi Yeshua Sava, Chalakeu, you split it in half. Hatzil Hashem, Hatzil Lachem. You split in half, either for half of the day for learning Torah and prayers, and half the day for eating and drinking. Says the Shulchan Aruch in source number 3 on page 165. Mitzvah Yom Tov l'chalakah. It's a mitzvah Yom Tov to split the day in half, whether actually 6 and 6 hours or portion and portion. Chetzi lebeis medrash, chetzi la'achila v'shtiyah. Half the day in the base medrash, and half the day eating and drinking. And
it doesn't have to be exact.
Right. So most say it doesn't have to be exact. Some are actually say it does have to be exact. It's a choked by the poskim about how to do it. Most people are not knowing to do exactly 6 hours, 6 hours. Unfortunately, more people take more with the achila v'shtiyah and china than they do with learning.
It's a head, doesn't have.
It says chetzio. What's chetzio mean? Okay.
The opinion of Rabbi.
Let's just continue. Continue the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch says, "V'al tzamtzem b'hotzas yom tov." A person shouldn't be cheap when it comes to hotzat yom tov. In fact, they bring down from the Arizal that he says that a person who spends on yom tov, he gets double back. Double back. So you spend $10, you get $20 back. You spend $100, you get double everything you spend. You don't just get back; you get back with interest, right? You get double. The super records those. The tzarich, the chamadai, v'lanagai kimoi b'Shabbos, and a person has to mechabed yom tov, and he has to have onig yom tov, just like he has on Shabbat. Okay. And it's brought down halach l'maisa. A person should not be cheap with yom tov. In fact, you have to have even better stuff on yom tov than you have on Shabbat, because there's an added element of simcha, which we're going to get to. So extra foods, better foods, more varieties of food. Your clothing has to be better on Yom Tov than it is on Shabbat, because again, there's this simcha that exists on Yom Tov that doesn't exist on Shabbat. So everything is better. So you have to up the game when it comes to there. Okay, now, what time to make minyan shachrit on Yom Tov? It's actually brought down in Gemara Masechtas Megillah. Okay, so let's take a look in Masechtas Megillah on source number 4, Chav Gimel Amid Aleph, and the Gemara says the Tanya.
Yom Tov means any Yom Tov, right?
Yom Tov, holidays.
All day Yom Tov, Shalosh Regalim.
Shalosh Regalim, probably not Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. That will be a little different. But other Yom Tovim, Pesach, Sukkot, Shavuot. What do? Yom Tov ma'achirin lavo u'maharin letzet. Yom Tov, minyan has to start later, okay, and you have to end quick. We're going to see why in a moment. Rashi's going to explain. Okay, but Yom Kippurim and Yom Kippur, bimharin lavo. On Yom Kippur, you come early. Okay, you come early, u'maharin letzet, and you leave late. Yom Kippur is the stretching. It's the stretch there. You're giving it to stretch. Start early and late. We do that. All year we start 8 Shabbat, 8:30 on Yom Tov, and then on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur we start 7:30. We bump it up a little bit. Okay, we start earlier. Shabbat, bimharin lavo, we come quick. U'maharin letzet, and we leave quick. Okay. So what's going on here? So Rashi explains the Yom Tov ma'achirin lavo. Why do we come late on Yom Tov? Why should Yom Tov be a little later davening? Why should it be somewhat later? Lebeit HaKnesset, come to a little later to the basic Knesset. Oh, shetzarech letroach besudas Yom Tov, because since you're allowed to make food on Yom Tov, you're allowed to cook on Yom Tov. So there's a tarich there. There's an effort to make food. So therefore, you're already starting to prepare the morning meal before you went to shul.
What's that?
So therefore, you start later. And the Hagot Yavet says a question. He says, "Who's doing the foid? The woman. The women are doing the food. The men are not. Most men are not in the kitchen making the food." So the Hagot Yavet says even better. He says, listen to what he says. The Hagot Yavet says the men remain at home to care for the children while the meal is being prepared. That's why they have to come late to shul. And you have to babysit a little bit in the morning so the wife can put the food together. So here the Gemara Megillah says, Yom Tov, you make food on the day, it's fresh. That's why you come a little late to shul, and everything everything's right here. Okay, so that explains Yom Tov. Umaharin, let's say, and why do we leave early on Yom Tov? Why we want to stretch to Tefillah? Davin, you said brachot. Said brachot, said shema, and now you're getting ready. Getting ready for the food.
No.
Yeah.
It says, "Lo tochlu al adam." Doesn't say.
Yeah, but you shouldn't also do your own things. But
But
Randy on Yom Tov, there's food being prepared. It takes time. It takes time. Going back nostalgia, back in the days when I was little, we knew Sukkot, Yom Tov, first day of Yom Tov, as long as it was a weekday. My mother was making the special manti. The Baharians have the special dumpling. She would make it on that day. She had the dough prepared before Yom Tov, and then on Yom Tov she was stretching out the dough. She was putting in the cut meat. She was putting it in the thing. So it was a whole day. It was a whole morning process. It started early. Yeah, you knew it was Yom Tov. You spelled it in the air. It was a whole day process, a whole morning process. But anyway, so why do we leave early from the shul? Meshum simchat Yom Tov. You can't stretch out Yom Tov tefillah. Yom Tov tefillah has to go a little bit quicker. You got to leave early because you want to go and enjoy the food. Your wife made the food and you're not him because you're singing away in the shul. You got to go home. Shabbat. Now Shabbat. Why do you start early on Shabbat? Why is it earlier on Shabbat? Because everything was already prepared. Okay, and it's best to come early and daven and say Shema to the right way and everything like that. And so therefore you start earlier on Shabbat. And you also leave early on Shabbat. You shouldn't stretch out the tefillah too much on Shabbat. Why? Shimon Shabbat. I want to enjoy my Sukkah. I want to eat my chillin'. I want to get to it already. I can't stay all day in the shul. So therefore, you got to get out. So by the way, so you already want the row. What time to make this money for tefillah? It's all here. Okay, it's all written out for you. What time to start? Later, earlier, and the like. Okay.
Sleeping is also on Shabbat.
Hold on a second. 1 second. Rami, what did you say? No, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say you can't have Nez Minyan. It just says it says it starts later.
How could it be net if it's mahul?
Some people daven nights. For them, that's later. Okay. There is an Indian of davening nights all the time, but that Indian of davening nights shouldn't overcome everything else that goes on in life.
Look,
there's.
I
I just had to deal with a case recently that this guy davened nights. Because he davened nights, he had so many other problems in his life. And so I explained to the guy, that's not what nights is about. Okay, if you can make it, you can make it. Great, and that's a very special and very important thing. I'm not putting it down. It's very, very high up there. But a lot of other things should not be affected because you went to nights. You can't work, you can't do your job. Your family's being affected by it. You're being affected.
And before
right, it doesn't work that way. Right. So same thing. Yom Tov is oneg. Now, if you're for you, oneg and simcha is to wake up early. Go. Fine, no one's a problem with that. But most people, like you said, to come later to the shul is a little more enjoyable. I can wake up a little later. It's more relaxed, more this.
Hard for them to wake up for me to get to my son.
Yeah, you need more time to digest. Right, 100%. Plus, the Seder is going so late and stuff like that. There's a reason why. Chachamim know what they're doing. Okay, anyway, the Rambam says. Yeah. Malkil, you want to add something?
No, I was saying Onek Shabbat also to go home and sleep on Shabbat to relax.
Yeah.
That's Onek Shabbat.
That's also okay.
Don't forget.
Anything that's done on Shabbat for Shabbat is the Onek. Anything done before Shabbat is the Kavod Shabbat. Okay. That's the middle guy. Okay. Afal Pi, says the Rambam, source number 6. Even though a person's eating and drinking on the Moadim, and it's a Bechal Mitzvah Saseh, it's a Mitzvah Saseh. He shouldn't eat and drink the entire day. Okay, it shouldn't become a whole day affair that all day he's eating and drinking. And that's what some people do, unfortunately. They eat and drink the whole day, the shir, they forgot about learning Torah, they don't do. Instead, they're eating and drinking, and then they get eating and drinking, they get a little tipsy, they drink a little alcohol and stuff like that. And then they start mixing with other people they're not supposed to, then they either fight or they're talking to the wrong people, and then they get knocked out, they this, and then they miss everything, they don't know where they are. Okay, so we don't want you to do it. Says the Rambam, this is what you should do. In the morning, get up, and everyone goes to the Beis Medrash, right? And they go and they daven, they read the Torah, and they and the Chayzin Levasei and they go back to their homes and they eat. And they finish eating the Suda, and go back to the Beis Medrash, go and learn until half the day. And after half the day, go and go back to your house, and then eat and drink for the rest of the day. So the Rambam has you going to shul, coming back home, eating the Suda, going back to shul and learn, and get down and then go back home, eat and drink. Today, again, most people are not doing this Rambam's recommended schedule for Yom Tov, but the idea is still there. Just to look at the Magen Avraham in source number 7, the Magen Avraham says The chazanim that are stretching hamarichim yoter mechatzot, who are stretching out the tefillah past chatzot, they need to be scolded. Right? So the Magen Avraham, I don't know when he's starting with tefillah, but he's saying, right? He's saying we're always good. We're good. This show is always on point. Don't worry. And if we're not, someone will scream us back into into point. But right. To add Musafim to yeah. People do that, yeah. But at the end of the day, the idea still exists. You want to come a little late, leave a little early from the shul. You want to enjoy the Yom Tov. The tefillah should be enjoyable too. I'm not saying to rush through the tefillah, chas v'sholem, or anything like that. But it should be enjoyable. It should be done with seichel. It should be a certain amount of chazanut, a certain amount of moving fast, and everyone should come out of it enjoy. Okay, so that is on the on what's it called? The Simchat of Yom Tov, at least some of the beginning of it. So let's get now to the Yom Tov meals. We're on page 167. Says the Gemara himself, source number 8. Lo yachol adam ba'arvei Shabbatot b'yamim tovim min hamincha v'lamala. So from mincha ketana and on, a person should not eat. Why? The worst way, kadesh yichanes l'Shabbos, he should come into Shabbos when he has a desire. And Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi Omer, Eichel l'haylech ad shetechshach. First, he can eat and drink up until the nightfall. Says the Rama, Aser l'achol mincha v'lamala be'erev Yom Tov. You cannot eat from mincha and on erev Yom Tov. So this is 9.5 hours into the day. Kamoy b'Shabbos, shezehu mechlal hakavod. Again, it's before Shabbat. You're doing this, so therefore it's part of the kavod for Shabbat. Kavod for Yom Tov.
3 hours before Shabbat.
So we
Yeah.
can do like Rabbi Yehuda.
That what? Not to eat or to eat?
No, to eat. He says you could eat until it's.
Rabbi Yossi says, Eichel v'halech ad shetechshach. Mishnah Berurah says the language is not precise of the Ramah. It's not an isser. The Gam be'erev Shabbos ain't no isser, ela mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to stop eating metesha sha'ot v'lamala, from 9 hours into the day and on. Right. So it's not an isser to eat that time, but it is a mitzvah.
You stop working, finish, you don't, and you're tired from the week, and we'll make it a haim before.
Right.
No, ham is okay. I'm talking about the meat.
No, meal.
So you said L'chaim. So I'll give you my comments, and my comments are not just my comments. I've seen this from Rabbi Zilberstein Shlita. He was asked about this To'ameya thing that was a new idea that Erev Shabbat they make this the huge meal before Shabbat, and they call it To'ameya. It's a taste. No taste. It's a whole meal going on there. It's problematic. Okay, it's problematic because you're eating everything there. You're not going to eat in the Su'udah of Shabbat. So that's the issue. That's the issue. Eating down to Su'udah, sitting down to bread and stuff like that. Person wants a snack or something like that. It's not a problem. Problem is actually sitting down to Su'udah. It's don't make me come, please. Past that, okay? It has to be done with seicha. It has to be done with seicha. If all of a sudden there's a big smorgasbord of food an hour before Shabbat, and they're all sitting down having the chaim and eating the food, you have to really question yourself. Where is this coming from? My parents didn't do it. Your parents didn't do it. Grandparents didn't do it.
4 different kinds of fish, and then 3 kinds of chulent and meat.
Someone got the schedule wrong. They brought it out early. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
But to drink it, okay?
To'ameh, Chaim Zahu.
It's a free taste.
Yeah. What? 9 hours into the day. Okay, so if let's use 9 hours shows money with hours. So 9.5 is mincha. Samich l'mincha will be 9 hours. The Mishnah says 9 hours. So you take whatever is the sunrise and take 9 hours shows money. So if the day is 6 to 6, right? 6 o'clock was sunrise, 6 o'clock is sunset.
About 3.
So 3 o'clock. Whatever time is, you can take the app and take a look. Take the app, take a look. 9 hours into the day.
4.
What? Yeah. 5:21. Okay. Yeah, 5:22. 5:22 is today. Okay, fine. 9.5 hours into the day. Yeah. He writes here, some say the Afchati Shah Koidim Zman Mincha Ketana. Says the Bir Halacha in source 11. So Samach Mincha Ketana. So 9 hours into the day. So 5:20, so take a half hour before, so 4:50. According to that. Okay, anyway. What's the story of Su'udah Shelishit on Yom Tov? Everybody knows we don't eat Su'udah Shelishit. That's where we're knowing. No one really makes a Su'udah Shelishit. Is there an opinion to make a Su'udah Shelishit on Yom Tov?
I never heard.
Su'udah Shelishit on Yom Tov.
I never heard.
Yom Tov. Back Yom Tov. We don't. But look at the Rambam. Source number 12 says the Rambam, Chayev Adam le'achol shilosh Su'udah v'Shabbat. וצריך לקבוע כל סעודה משלושתן על היין ולצור על שתי הכיכרות וכן בימים טובים. Regular Yom Tov. The Rambam says וכן בימים טובים. The Rambam's opinion, you need סעודה שלישי on Yom Tov.
So, איפה זה כתוב בגמרא? That's the question.
That's what he writes. And says the Tur, ויש ערמים שצריך לעשות בו 3 סעודות. וכן כתב הרמב"ם. Adoni Avi Harosh Lo Nahaken. But he says the Rosh did not. There's a third that the Rosh did not Nahaken. Says the Shulchan Aruch that the prevalent custom is V'lo Nahagu La'asot Bo Sudah Shilishit. The minhag is not to do Sudah Shilishit on Yom Tov. And the Levush wants to say, you know why you don't have to make Sudah Shilishit on Yom Tov? Because sometimes Sudah Shilishit is a challenge to get it done. To wash for it, do for it, take it, this, that. So he says, since Yom Tov is supposed to be Simcha, you don't have to do that extra Su'udah. It's more of a Simcha, says the Levush, not to make that Su'udah Shilishit.
Another meal in Yom Tov, more Simcha.
So in fact...
Yeah, but if you do Su'udah Shilishit today, there's 2 days, then, you eat at 5 o'clock, then...
So you're eating the whole day.
So the Mishnah Berurah actually says, it's recommended to eat a fruit or the like in its place. Even though you don't have to eat Su'udah Shilishit on Yom Tov, you should take time out during the day to eat a little more, eat something else. The Chazon Ish would actually eat a full third meal on Yom Tov. So the Chazon Ish kept this Rambam, and he made a Su'udah Shilishit on Yom Tov.
But Amechaber didn't know what the Rambam said. Amechaber didn't know what the Rambam said.
The Mechaber did know.
He
didn't pass him like the Rambam.
Exactly.
He did not pass him like the Rambam.
He says, lo noagim.
166, the Rambam says it.
Go back home and eat during the day. Yeah.
Divides the day to 2. There's one part.
In the morning after Shachrit, eat.
And then go back
and eat again.
And eat again.
Maybe that's his Su'udah. Maybe that's his Su'udah Shlishi, because he says in here in the other Rambam, he says.
You mean the night before, there's one.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Now, so I told you the Mishnah Berurah wants you to eat something in its place, even though you have to Su'udah Shlishi, and the Chazon Ish ate a Su'udah Shlishi. So again, today people have a Yom Tov party. They take out all sorts of fruits and snacks and candies and stuff like that, and they take it out. That is a very good thing to do as well. Okay, how does one rejoice on Yom Tov? How does one rejoice on Yom Tov? Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda ben Miteiroimer, Bizman shebeged midrash kayam, ain't simcha el b'basar. The only way you can do simcha is with meat. Shenemar, v'zavachta shlamim v'achalta sham v'semachta l'fnei Hashem elokecha. Okay, you have to bring korbanos and eat it. The akshav she'ain beit midrash kayam, says the Gemara. Today, when there's no beit mikdash. Ein simcha ela ve'yayin. Shenemar ve'yayin yismach levav enosh. So yayin is what brings simcha. So what do you get out of this Gemara? That what gives you simcha today?
Wine.
How come? Not basar.
How come?
Right? That's what the Gemara seems to say. Let's take a look. There's no meat karbanos, so therefore.
Oh, so what? So it means like you're not allowed to eat meat.
Nothing allowed to eat meat, but the simcha comes from yayin. That's what the Gemara says.
No, but
The actual she'em is midrash kayim ain't simcha elo beyayin.
We still have meat.
What? Doesn't say basar beyayin. It says yayin.
We still
Okay,
can.
so let's take a look.
And all these things.
Let's take a look at the Rambam. The Rambam says Okay, 7 days of Pesach, Shmonis Meichag, Kulam Asurim Behesped, Vetanis, Chai Vadon Yos Behem Simcha V'Toivle. Ketzach, Shkoyach. The Ketzach, how you B'Simcha? Ha'anashim Oichlin Basar, they eat meat, V'Shotin Yain. She'ein Simcha El B'Basar, V'ein Simcha El B'Yain. And says the Bet Yosef. Says the Bet Yosef. V'yesh, Nitzmo Al Rambam. You have to wonder on this Rambam. Lama hitzach sheyachlu basar v'yishtu yain. Why does it say you have to eat meat and drink wine? The haba braita katani the bizman nazeh ein simcha ela beyain. Umashma the beyain sagi beloy basar. That's what the Beit Yosef says. Where is this Rambam getting in meat? The Rambam is throwing things in. He wants the sudah shilishi. He wants you to eat meat. He's giving you extra stuff to eat there. It says Beit Yosef, Simcha, the writer said.
What happened to the basar after the Beit HaMikdash was nechlav? What happens? All of a sudden, it's not en bo simcha? What happened?
I don't know.
That's the question. What happened?
I hear you.
B'zman Beit HaMikdash, en simcha ela b'basar.
Take a look at the Shulchan Aruch Harav. By the way, Shulchan Aruch says, Shulchan Aruch brings, they only have to drink wine. Okay? The question that Paiskim deal is, someone doesn't like wine. Could it be Yoitze Simchas Yom Tov via grape juice? So another poskim who say yes. So there is actually a shita, you can drink whiskey to have Simchas Yom Tov instead of the wine. But if you ask someone what's the best way to do Simchat Yom Tov, wine. Because that's what the Beit Yosef says, that the Shulchan Aruch says, that's what the Gemara says. Wine is a Simchat Yom Tov. And they even say you should do this also on Chol Moed. You should drink every day. It's not just Yom Tov itself, it's actually all Moed. Right? The whole Moed. That's the Bibi Simcha. So the whole Moed, you should drink a cup of wine.
But if somebody doesn't like it,
if he doesn't like it, so you can have grape juice or whiskey or something like that.
If you drink wine, it's not
the Shulchan Aruch Harav says, "Basar eina chavu le'echol achshav. Kiven she'ein lanu basar shlamim mikol makom mitzvah yesh ba'achilas basar b'yom tov." So says the Shulchan Aruch Harav, there is no chiyuv to eat basar on Yom Tov, but it's a mitzvah. If you eat it, it is great. It is nice. It brings simcha. But the real simcha was the simcha of the shlamim that you brought, and we don't have it. We don't have to actually have the meat. Okay, the Maharsha writes the one is not obligated to drink wine in Yom Tov if this will cause him to suffer. Right? If it's going to cause him to suffer, like Reb Chaim said, then it's not simcha. All right, and then you skip that. Either you take grape juice, whiskey, or find something else that you like.
take basar.
Okay, take basar.
He likes meat.
All right, now the Shulchan Aruch Harav did say it is a mitzvah to eat meat, right? Meat it also brings some simcha. The Rambam said meat is a mitzvah. So according to the Rambam, according to Shulchan Aruch Harav, can I substitute chicken for the meat? Does it have to be basar behema, or can I do oif?
Whatever is good for you, whatever you are samech. V'samachta b'chagecha, whatever you are samech.
So there are different opinions. The Moshe Feinstein ruled that it can only be meat, animal meat. That's the psak of Moshe. The Or Letzion also writes it has to be actual meat, animal meat, right? Rav Yosef Shalom Elyashiv also says you should try to get meat, but he allows poultry.
But they said no meat before.
According to the Rambam and according to the Shulchan Aruch Harav, who says there is a mitzvah of meat. So what meat? So they're saying animal meat. However, there are those others who say the Chavis Yair, the Gilyon Shas, and others, Shevet Levi, who says you can use chicken as well. So again, the person has cholesterol issues, and the doctor said stay away from animal derivative products, right? So so I believe chicken and turkey is less problematic. White meat is
don't
fish as a simcha on the if you like it if it's your thing. But as for the mitzvah of yayin and basar, they don't talk about fish. Right.
But if you like
That's
fish,
the problem too. Yeah.
if you like fish, you can have a little bit of meat.
Right. So the bigger way of looking at it, Ephraim, is like there's what Chazal say brings simcha, yayin, and perhaps basar, and then there's other things that bring me simcha. And so if a person doesn't like meat and he doesn't like wine, so the other things that bring me simcha, I would use that as well. What else? What else? Okay.
Amen.
Right. Okay, so one can say that. One can say that. Yeah, we could say in the big umbrella term of simcha. Okay, in the Chazal's term of simcha, simcha was basariyah for men. Okay, let's take a look in page 172. We have a pasuk in Devar. V'samachta b'chagecha ata uvincha uvitecha ve'avdecha ve'amatecha ve'halevi ve'hager ve'hayatom ve'halmana asher b'sharecha. And it says again v'ha'ita ach sameach in the next pasuk. So Tana Rabbanan chayev adam zameach banu v'nei beitoi b'regel. The person has to be misameach his children and the people of his house on the regel. So with what do you get besimcha? So the Tanakhama says beyayin. Give everybody wine. Everybody, give the kids, give the wife, give the whole house wine. Everyone be besimcha. And Yehuda ever no. Anoshim baroy lehem. You give men what is good for them. V'noshim baroy lehem. And you give the ladies what's good for them. Anoshim baroy lehem beyayin. For men, you give them wine. Again, Gemara says wine, not meat. V'noshim b'mai. And then the women with what? Tana Rabbi Yosef. B'bavel, they give them colorful clothing. In Eretz Yisrael, they give them linen clothes. So the Gemara and the Bavli says they give the women clothing, right? Either depending on where they're living, colorful clothing, pressed linen, whatever is the mode of fashion for that time. The Yerushalmi has a little bit of a different girsa over here, and take a look at source 24. And what do you give them simcha with? Beyayin. That's the first opinion. Rabbi Yudah Omer, Nashim b'roi lehem, Ketan b'roi lehem. Ah, so now I bring the Ketanim here. So he says, Nashim, what's good for them, and Ketanim, what's good for them. Nashim, what's good for the ladies? You give them shoes and jewelry. Okay, so the Shami says shoes and jewelry. All right, exactly.
Don't tell to my wife.
The Ketanim, and what do you give Ketanim? This definitely changed. B'roi lehem, kegain egazin veluzin. You give them walnuts and almonds. I don't know if that's going to work today. Right. So you give them what's right to them, whatever's right to them for what's their simcha. That's what you're going to give them. So says the Shulchan Aruch, Chayiv Adam le'yotzamech v'toiv lev b'moed, hu v'ishto avana v'chol, and everybody that's relying on him. Ketzad, how does he give them simcha? For Ketanim, he gives them nuts and seeds. For Hanoshim, you give them begadim, and you give them jewelry, according to his budget. So you went from clothing to shoes, and then the Shami brings jewelry, and here he brings clothing and jewelry. So your person gives his wife, and it's a mitzvah right here in the Shulchan Aruch, chayiv, a person to get something for his wife for the Yom Tov, and says the leket halachot Yom Tov. Lo maspik, it's not enough. Shekoyin lehem sefer likrot bo. The guy goes and he buys his wife a book for the Yom Tov. Right? He buys her a cookbook, or he buys her something like that, or flowers, or he buys her some sort of new machine for the kitchen. And he says, nope, that's not going to do. Shedafka simcha idei veget chodesh. It has to be new clothing. Don't try to give her simcha the new the bread maker or the new blender or something like that. Not going to work. Okay, not going to bring her simcha.
They don't like my kids. They want.
Yeah, they got to get her something. All right. He says even if she already has a Yom Tov clothing, you got to buy her a new item.
That is good. We are okay. You do it.
It's your money, and you're telling her to go buy something, so then fine. Some people don't like someone else's tasting gifts. They rather get the gift card, right? Or let them buy it themselves. That's what some people are. I find those people very challenging because you want to get them something good and you want to get them a surprise, but they don't want your surprise ever. They want to choose what they want. It just makes it very difficult and makes them get less gifts, I think.
Red and they
Because,
want blue.
right? Baruch Hashem. Okay. The Shevet HaLevi was asked, or Wozner was asked, if a woman already has special clothes for Yom Tov, is there a further obligation or not? And he says, no, if she already has enough clothing for Yom Tov, then perhaps there is no more chiyuv to get her anything else. When I was reading this, my question was to Rav Wozner is, have you met our ladies? They never have enough clothing, right? They have a whole 2 walk-in closets of clothing, and nothing fits. Nothing is worth nothing they can wear. He says they have enough already. You have to buy them anymore. I don't know. I've never met a lady who says that they have enough clothing. I don't know.
All ladies have
Never enough.
At least 5 pair of shoes. Even
Nothing to wear, they say.
don't use. At least.
Yeah. Nothing to wear. So that's why you got to get them something new every Chag. Okay. All right. Now, this Simchas Yom Tov for the lady. Rabotai, this Simchat Yom Tov for the lady, whether to get the dress, get the jewelry, the shoes, whatever it is this a chiyuv on her husband? Meaning her husband's job is to make her b'simcha? Or does the woman also have a chiyuv on simcha on Yom Tov? So if she's not married, she's a single older lady, does she have to make herself b'simcha on Yom Tov? Or is it only on the husband that has to make it b'simcha if she has a man in her life?
Every person.
That's the question. That's the question. Okay?
Every person.
So let's take a look. We're bringing here a Gemara in Masechet Rosh Hashanah. The Gemara is going to be dealing with this Gemara in Masechet Rosh Hashanah. When a person makes a promise to bring something to the Mikdash, he has to bring it in a certain amount of time, right? He has to go bring it within the first 3 Chagim pass by. And he has to bring it, right? So he can't be late. So based on this Gemara, let's take a look at this Gemara inside. We're going to see that perhaps there is an opinion here about Simchat Yom Tov for the Nashim, if their chiyuv is on themselves from this. So let's take a look. We are in Rosh Hashanah, Vav Amud Beis. Vav Amud Beis. Okay. And here we go. Boy Reb Zera. Isha Mahi Beval Ta'aher. What is the Isha, the woman's status with regard to not to delay? That if she made a vow, that she cannot delay bringing it. Mi amrinan haloi mechayev beriya. Do we say since she has no chiyuv in riyah in coming up to the mikdash, and the whole thing of not being late is not to show up late with the oidilma, or maybe ha ita b'simcha, or maybe she still has a chiyuv to come to Jerusalem or to enjoy the Yom Tov because she's supposed to have simcha. Amar le'abaya, v'tepuk le'daha ita b'simcha. Let her emerge from the fact that she's obligated in the mitzvah of rejoicing that she has a mitzvah of Baal Ta'acher, not delaying. Omi Amar Abaya Hachi. Did Abaya say that? Amar Abaya, Isha Ba'ala Misamecha. A husband's job is to misamech the wife on Yom Tov. Not that the woman has her own simcha Yom Tov. The Gemara says, Lidvarav the Rebbe Zera Ka'amar. Abaya was talking based on the premise of Rebbe Zera. Rebbe Zera is of the opinion that a lady has her own mitzvah of simchat Yom Tov. Not on the husband's mitzvah of misamech his wife. But rather she has her own mitzvah of simchat Yom Tov. So if she's alone, she has to make herself b'simcha. She has to get herself stuff. So that's the Gemara. And the Rambam says, look at the Rambam. And the Rambam says, listen, there's 3 mitzvot on the Yom Tov. The Re'iyah, to come up to the Mikdash and be seen. The Chagigah. And then there's Simcha. Says the Rambam that the Re'iyah and the Chagigah, Shtei mitzvot elu, shehen hariyah v'chagigah, and hanashim hayavot ba. The women are not obligated in going up to the Mikdash. They're not obligated in bringing Chagigah. But then he says, V'hasimcha is the shlamim, and the shalmei simcha, the extra meat that you bring, V'noshim chayavot b'mitzvah zo. Says the Rambam, the ladies are obligated in Simchas Yom Tov as well. They have their own separate obligation of Simcha.
He's contradicting himself.
Why?
He said they don't have to go to meal. How you eat shalmei chagiga?
Okay.
You have to be Bet HaMikdash.
Okay.
So he tells her she doesn't have to come.
She doesn't have
If she
to.
doesn't have, how she's gonna eat?
But she has to have Simcha.
גם ברגל, יכולה לבוא עם אוטו.
All right, you come a Chol Hamoed after Simcha. Okay. Fine.
They're tired, Rabbi. They're tired from cooking, from preparing, from working.
Exactly. For the vacation to stay home.
So the
Technically,
Rambam makes it clear. V'noshim chayavim b'mitzvah zeh. They have their own obligation of Simchas Yom Tov. The Hasagot of the Ravad, he says no. He says no. Lo b'karban el b'simcha shetisamech im bala shetala imo v'hu yismach ota. Says the Ravad, the woman has no separate obligation of Simcha and Yom Tov. It's her husband's obligation to make her be'simcha. Okay?
So the husband doesn't find here, right?
According to the Rambam,
I'll send you the
so to speak. Yeah. The Rambam seems to say she has her own mitzvah of Simcha. She's got to get something for herself. The Ravad says no, she has no mitzvah. And Abai will be with that opinion too.
If you have to run after, you don't know their taste or this or that.
Yeah.
Money, she does whatever she needs.
But there's also an Indian of giving gifts. It brings closeness. It brings harmony and stuff like that.
At the end of the day, you don't get what you want. What do you do?
It's also problematic, right?
Yeah. So you let them do it.
You can't live with them, can't live without them, right? How does it work? Okay. Anyway, the Rabbi Akiva Eger, he says the Rambam holds the halacha is with according to Rabbi Zera, and a woman has an obligation to rejoice, and she must rejoice by drinking wine and eating meat. You heard it according to Rabbi Akiva Eger, the Rambam who says she has simcha, it's simcha with basar and yain for the lady. But he says she's not obligated to eat bread. There's no rejoicing of bread. Bread is oineg. Maybe she doesn't have this. It's Mr. Zman Grama, says Rabbi Akiva Eger. So Rabbi Akiva Eger wants to say that she has simcha, but she has no din in eating the suda. The suda is Mr. Zman Grama. It says mitzvah that's not for the lady. She can do it if she wants, but there's no mitzvah of the suda. She has a mitzvah of simcha, and the simcha is basar v'yayin for the lady, according to Rabbi Akiva Eger. So so it's all complicated like this. And the Pischei Tshuva, he says, hello, ha'ikr is near hafach. It's all opposite from the Rabbi Akiva Eger. And be'emet, that she has a mitzvah of Oineg Yom Tov, just like Oineg Shabbat, and she needs to have two breads and make a seudah, just like the man, everything the same. And the Rambam and the Ravid's question is only on the added point of Simchat Yom Tov, not on Oneg, but rather on the added point of Simchat Yom Tov. Does a lady have her own independent Simchat Yom Tov issue or not? And that is the machloket. The Penini Halacha writes over here, an Isha that's not married, she is single or she's a widow, is obligated. Tzichem lekayim ba'atza et mitzvat hasimcha. She has to make her own Simchat Yom Tov. Even if she's alone, even if she's single, she buys herself clothing, she gets herself nice jewelry, and she eats festival foods, and she has enjoyment on spends time with people and avoiding sad activities. So, it says that halacha l'maaseh is that they have a mitzvah of their own Simchat Yom Tov, and they should make themselves besimcha on Yom Tov. Now, just because we're mentioning this, we'll mention something else that Chamavaji dealt with, and it's brought in the Alka Joseph as well. A guy wants to go away for Yom Tov. He wants to go by his Rebbe. He wants to go to a certain kever in a certain place. I didn't say any names. You guys did. I don't want to get banned anywhere. Okay. I don't want any hate mail either. So can you do this? Can you go away and you want to spend Yom Tov elsewhere?
If he's gonna go, how is gonna mesamech?
Exactly. So that's what he writes.
Maybe by him going, it's gonna be.
So
good one, Gabriel.
everyone talk for themselves. Everyone talks for themselves. But he does say that the pasuk says to be simcha with your children and your family and your wife and everybody. And how are you going to do that if you're not there? Okay. And sometimes women are maskim and they say it's okay, go, but they're only maskim superficially, and they're not maskim deep down.
Rabbi,
They want their husband.
and now I
It
understand.
says. It says, "V'samach l'checha, ato avincho v'techa v'avdecha v'ametecha v'lev v'agir v'yotom v'amana asher b'sharecha." Everything that you have.
They're doing
Everybody.
good. Rabbi, they're doing good. They're not going in the Shalosh Regalim. They're going in Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is not hard.
Somebody wasn't making with Rosh Hashanah either. Although they got him on one clip to say yeah, and then he had to explain that he didn't mean that.
It's not that
Okay.
hard. It's
So
not
anyway, so there is an Indian of what's it called, spending time with family on Yom Tov, and by the way, that's we mention it all the time. That in itself is a challenge, right? To spend time with the family on Yom Tov, because it can get challenging. You're all together for a long time, right? The person has to figure out a way how to do that. Okay, just want to see something really quick. In the laws of Yom Tov, I put something down to 244. I wanted to put note 10. What was this? Right. Okay. So everything we said. If the wife already has clothing, you should buy something else. They get her simcha. Same thing with the children. If they don't like candy, you should find something else to make them a simcha. An unmarried woman also has a mitzvah of simchas Yom Tov, and she should try to buy herself new clothing or jewelry for Yom Tov. Fine. 274 over here. And 75, halacha 12. We mentioned this already as okay. Very good. Right. Staying with the family for Yom Tov. Very good. Fine. Let's continue. We have over here, the Rambam famously says that when it comes to Yom Tov needs and getting food for Yom Tov, if you're just getting for yourself, you did not do Simchat Yom Tov. You just took care of your stomach. If you really want to do Simchat Yom Tov, what did the pasuk say? It says, with who? V'halevi, v'hager, v'hayatom, v'almana, shebesharech. So everybody, including the aniyim. It says that Rambam, if you did not give money to the aniyim to help them with Simchat Yom Tov, you did not have Simchat Yom Tov. You just have Simchat your belly, and it's cursed. Okay, it's cursed. They bring down from different sources. If a person didn't get tzedakah for Yom Tov to somebody else, right? Whatever he has is cursed. So you want to make sure to make sure to give money to aniyim on for Yom Tov. Says the Yitzchaki Kareh, he says over here that if one does not bring joy to the poor, he does not fulfill his own obligation of the Samachta Bechagecha. And he didn't do Simchat Yom Tov, Sudat Yom Tov, like brought down in the Rambam. Okay, so very important not to just think about ourselves when we're getting to Yom Tov, but rather also thinking about everybody that's in that pasuk, everybody in your surroundings. Okay, now the pasuk also says, we're on page 180. The pasuk says, "Shalosh pa'amim b'shana yira'eh kol zechuricha et pnei Hashem elokecha b'makom Hashem har b'chag matzot b'chag Shavuot b'chag Sukkot v'lo yira'eh et pnei Hashem rekav." So there's a mitzvah of Aliyah l'regel, to going up to Jerusalem on the holiday, and there is a Gemara Masechet Ta'anit. We know that when in Eretz Yisrael do they start asking for rain? When do they make the bracha for the rain?
Zayin b'Cheshvan.
Zayin Cheshvan, right? Zayin Cheshvan. You mentioned the rain already in Sukkot time, but the requesting the rain is in Zayin Cheshvan. Why? Because they had to leave. They had to leave, go back home after Sukkot. So you need to give them time to get there, right? That's what the Gemara says. So the Gemara brings the machlokes. What about Zman Hazeh? When there's no Mikdash, should we start requesting for the rain earlier? Right? Should we start requesting for rain early in Eretz Yisrael? Because really the Zman for Geshem is already the end of Sukkot. Shmini Chag Atzeret. So should I start requesting now that there's no Avila Regal? So do I have to be worried about people leaving? Maybe not.
You know, the Geshem got used to.
So take a look. Remember, one starts to ask already on Shmini Atzeres. Kika Rabbi Yochanan, Bezman in a Beis Mikdash Kayam. When Rabbi Yochanan say you should start right away, Shmini Chag Atzeres are ready to start saying the request for rain when there's no Beis Mikdash, because the whole reason why you wait to Zayin Cheshvan is because people have to get back home. There's no other regular. The Rambam rules that even today in Eretz Yisrael we wait for Zayin of Cheshvan, Zayin Mar Cheshvan. We do not start earlier. In contrast to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. And the Ran explains that's because today, even though there is no Mikdash, there is still somewhat of a mitzvah to go up to Jerusalem on the Yom Tov.
Why can't we apply the same thing?
That's a big question.
That's going to be the next year, second day of Yom Tov. It's not going to be today, but that is the next part that's going to come up. So the Ran, let's take a look at the Ran. The Ram says, everyone from surrounding areas would gather in Jerusalem for Yom Tov, as people also do today. Moshe was saying Gam Hayoim. Why? Because of these people who were sent to Jerusalem. It's proper to delay asking for rain, as this was the original institution. In fact, the Midrash Sher Hashim Rabbah says, Enecha right? Ma Yonah, just with the Yonah is very faithful to its mate. The dove is very faithful to its mate. Doesn't mate with anybody else. One mate, and that's it. It's the same thing with the Jews. We do not cancel the Aliyat Laregel, even though there's no Mikdash. We stay faithful to where we go up on the holiday. We continue to go to Jerusalem, just like the dove is faithful. The Jews are faithful, and they keep going up to the Makam Mikdash, to the Kotel, and stuff like this.
When Chachamim they wrote this, it was was after Bet HaMikdash, and they wrote. They didn't bring this reason. They got only the reason of what they used to do in this man Bet HaMikdash.
Right.
So
why is the reason why? Because they still were doing it then. They were still going up. Whenever had a chance to go up, would go up. Okay. Says the Shas Shuvik Sam Sefer. Nowadays, there's no positive obligation to make the pilgrimage, right? There's no mitzvah say to go up, nor to remain there. If the husband wants to go up there, he may not do so without his wife's permission. If you want to go up to the regular, you want to go to Jerusalem for Yom Tov and your wife is somewhere else, can't do it unless you get her permission. You cannot leave. Since there's no mitzvah say to go up, you have to get her permission to go, right? Best if you could take the whole family up to Jerusalem for the Chag. Some should give us the money, the assets to be able to do that. Chamavadi writes that even today, going up to Jerusalem is very special.
Yeah.
It's a very big zechut, and there's a lot of sanctity, a lot of kedusha in that place. And therefore, he says, "Lefikach ein safek shemitzvah." It's a mitzvah la'alot Yerushalayim gam bizman hazeh larot pnei Melech Chaim, to go to the shuls there, to spend time at the kotel, and it brings the person a lot of special things. So there are Jews here, even from the diaspora, from America, who try to go up to Jerusalem on the Chagim, on the Yom Tovim, and those who can, it's a huge mitzvah to do such, and especially those who are in Israel should definitely try to make. They can't go on the Chag itself, but definitely on the Chol Hamoed to make a trip to Jerusalem. And I think they do the big Birkat Kohanim on Sukkot, right? They have at the Kotel. Also on Pesach? I know it was one. But yeah, so this way. Aliyah the Regal is a mitzvah on Shalosh Regal. Yeah. For Bikurim, for anything else, the person has to go up. He has to go up. You say Stam is right to go to Jerusalem? It's definitely a source.
Other days is Yeshua.
If I have a chance to go to Jerusalem, should I grab the chance? If
No,
Gabriel is only on the Chagim. Only on the Chagim. Right for Chagim. We just went to the Lo Mesechus Chagiga. Right? Only Chag. Only Chag. Only Chag. Right.
התורה כותבת לך שבחג אתה בא מביא קורבן ראייה.
Halal knows about this.
What?
Halal knows about that.
Halal knows about. That's right. The prices go up.
Knows about that. Halal knows about it.
Yeah, we have minyan. Okay, Rabbi Chaim Shalom, tzedek Hakadosh Baruch Hu zakon Yisrael. לפיכך, אם בא למתור מצוות שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.